What is going on, everybody? Welcome to First Person Shooter History and our third episode in this very exciting series in which we're going to explore, examine, and otherwise enjoy countless titles in the history of today's most popular video game genre. Each episode, we're going to take an individual game, learn all about where it came from, discuss the good and the bad and what impact, if any, it left on first-person shooters and gaming as a whole. And today, we're talking about Battlezone. Enjoy. Battlezone was released by Atari in 1980 in video arcades and immediately captured the attention and allowance of every teenager in America. If you're a gamer nowadays who has parents who are ragging you for playing too many video games, and your parents are between the ages of 30 and 55, print out a picture of a Battlezone cabinet, then go find the happiest picture of your parents with a huge smile on their face, tape both of them together on a picket sign. The next time you're hustling it up on some live and they come in to give you flack about it, all you gotta do is hold up that sign and watch that self-righteous look disappear right off their face, because literally everybody and their mother has played this game. Now, I'm lucky to have been a kid at a time when video arcades were still fairly popular in the mainstream, so I actually have a memory of playing this game. There are a couple of versions of the arcade cabinet that I'm aware of. One is a periscope you look into that's supposed to really suck into the experience. The other is just a standard arcade cabinet with a regular screen. I've seen both an upright and a cabaret, but from my understanding, those are really rare compared to the periscope version, which is the original. Controls are two joysticks left and right, both of which are locked into the Y-axis, and each one controls one of the treads on your tank. Kind of like one of those fancy lawnmowers. Or like a tank, which is what you drive in this game. Enemies appear one at a time on the screen and come in the form of tanks, really fast tanks, or seeker missiles. Your objective, destroy them before they destroy you. Now, if you were here for our last episode, we talked about Star Raiders, which is a landmark in 3D gaming when it came out. What Battlezone did was really ground, quite literally, the whole idea of 3D combat, and bring that to a mass audience. You had the Maze games that came before, but at this point, there was no commercial version of those games. When this thing hit arcades, it was, for most people, the first time they ever saw anything that came close to a straight-up first-person shooter. Now, the popularity of this game led developers to want to put it just about any platform that could handle running it. Because of console limitations at the time, most of the supports were to computers, and there were a lot of those at that time. There are so many, I'm not even going to begin to try to compare them all and decide which one is the best port, but if you have an older computer system, I can almost guarantee you there's a port of this out there and probably a ton of clones as well. Let's give this bad boy a score, shall we? Graphics. A point of interest, this game is natively rendered in black and white monochrome. The original arcade cabinets used overlays on the screen to give the appearance of color. Regardless, the green vector graphics suit the game perfectly, especially for something like a tank simulator. This is something I noticed about games in general, especially newer games today, and understand, better graphics, all things being equal, are better, but I begin to notice certain titles, especially recently, just seem to have so much detail, which, again, is a good thing in and of itself. But when you're playing a game that's very fast-paced and there's just so much extra little eye candy you have to take in, it can actually be a bit distracting, and that's not necessarily a good thing. This game, you don't have that because the graphics are simple, but they work. You can play this and be 100% in the environment and enjoying yourself with what it offers. 3 points for graphics. Gameplay. Absolutely fantastic. And look, this thing has been cloned 100 times over, but it's not hard to have fun with it. Obviously, the controls can't be duplicated from the arcade to the average consumer personal computer, but this game can be fun with a joystick or a controller on a keyboard, and it's still simple, straightforward, but really fun. Honestly, I'm not sure what to really say about this game. It's like what you see is what you get. But you have to realize, in 1980, this was groundbreaking. There was nothing like this. There were no tank sims, no first-person shooters, no 3D combat games at all. It was not even a thing yet. This was the first game, like any of those things, that was successfully introduced to an audience of this size, and playing it today, you can understand exactly why people liked it. It's very playable, it's very enjoyable, and it was very original when it came out. 4 points for gameplay, no question. Finally, on to story and sound. Now, this game had no story. I mean, not to speak of, at least. There are graphics on the sides of the arcade cabinet that indicate a plotline to do something with the moon or aliens, perhaps, but honestly, it really doesn't matter. This game's about blowing a lot of stuff up, and blowing a lot of stuff up really good. That's the lifeblood and story of this game in and of itself. I cannot picture a teenager from the 80s being happier after sitting through 90 seconds of exposition before being able to just go blow stuff up after having paid money to play this game. Story isn't applicable here, default point, moving on. Lastly, let's talk about sound. Sound is well done in this game. I think it integrates well to the experience. The sound effects definitely match up very well to the game. and I like it a lot. I wouldn't quite put it on par with Star Raiders, but it's definitely up there. For 1980, you couldn't ask for much more than this, and it's going to get a point for sound. That's going to bring our final score for Battlezone to 9 out of 10. Guys, this game is about as good as games got for its day. It looked great, it played great, it was a great experience, and it's still fun today. If you see one somewhere, heck, if you even find a video arcade somewhere in this generation, play this game, play all the games. Take one home if you can, because that industry is not what it was, but it had some really great games and great experiences, and everybody should be able to try them at least one time in their life. Guys, I want to thank you for watching my video. If you haven't seen either of our first two episodes, which cover Maze War and Star Raiders respectively, do go check those out. Tune in next time where we're going to be talking about Phantom Slayer. Hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss a single game, and I'll see you right back here for episode 4.